Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of the Flying Yak podcast. Today is Saturday. Oh, it's not Saturday, it's Thursday. Thursday, July 14th, 2016. I'm your host, Debbie Bliss, and you can find me at Instagram at the_flying_yak. This week, I'm going to be covering a lot of time that I've missed. So there's going to be lots and lots of stuff. I've dug up a lot of hibernating sweaters just for stash dash. So there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's spinning, there's whips, there's FOs, there's socks, mostly socks and sweaters. That's it. So let's start this before we end. So the reason I've been off for so long is because my mother was in town. So she just left on Monday, and I decided to record on Thursday, so that way next time I could record on Friday and get back into the groove without having too long of a gap. And also I just needed a little break after having my mom in town for a week. It's been intense, but it was nice. It was nice to get her to see Iceland for a little bit. Yeah, we went around the country and knitted and drank coffee, all the usual things. It was quite nice, and we got her to meet the whole family, all billion of the Icelandic family, who I'm sure she doesn't remember a single name. They all have the same name, but it's beside the point. I think that's about it, life-wise. I'm trying to add a little bit of life segment at the beginning to, try and make this a bit more personal and not only be about knitting, but all I've done is glacier climb. And the usual touristy things that one does in Iceland, which I never get around to doing. Ooh, I went to the Athbæjarstofn, which is like an outdoorsy museum. It's like a pioneer village, so I got to see a bunch of cool stuff. I posted some stuff on Instagram. I have more stuff that I'm probably gonna post, but I saw bobbin lace, which is, if you don't know what bobbin lace is, just look it up like on YouTube or on Google. I might just pull up a picture, but anyways, it's this lace that you just, it's only knots, and there are like 40 billion exact number bobbins going at once. This one had 31. This is for my Instagram. I don't know how to make this work, but those are all the bobbins. And then you can kind of see at the top there's fancy lace. Right, if I lower the brightness, does that help? Yeah. See, there's lace, and it was just beautiful. So this is gonna be my next project once I move. Probably going to try and do some bobbin lace after stash dash, because that does not go through yardage quick enough. So I'm going to make an attempt at bobbin lace. It's on the record. Gonna get into that. That was really interesting. There's a lot of handicrafts and trucks, and then there were sheep, and I got to kiss some sheepies. They were very cute, but because they lived in a pioneer village and got touched by 6-year-olds all the time, they were ready to rumble, and they were just like, let's make out, let's hang out. So I kissed a sheepy. No tongue, just a nose kiss. But it was really nice. They're super cute. I'm trying to convince my boyfriend we need a farm, and he keeps on telling me about the economical values of labor in the 21st century. He is a person with a computer science degree. He got the useful degree. Why would I? Teenagers who make the right decision on the first bat, disgusting. How do you make a proper career decision when you're 18? I don't think anybody should make a college-based decision correctly on the first go. No, you should get anthropology degree and then get a proper degree after being $40,000 in debt like the rest of us. I got the start of a music degree and then went, wait a second, this is dumb. But anyways, moving right on by. Last week I ended the show saying that multiple weeks ago, I ended the show saying that I'd frequented a very large sale at a yarn store that moved. And they moved out of the city, out of the downtown. The downtown is quite small in Reykjavik, but they moved to about a 30-minute walk from the downtown, so now they're inaccessible completely. But I went to their new store, and it's just, they have the same stuff, except they have double the floor space, so it just looks empty. I hope they start getting more stuff in. It's a cute store, though. Hopefully it does well. But, yeah, I said I had a whole bag left of yarn. So in that time, I have cast it on. This is the store, Starkerin, just means the stork. It says more than a yarn store on the bottom. And the whole bag was all of one yarn. So I got a bunch of the blue Faced Leicester Aran from Debbie Bliss for $5 a skein. $5. So these were my 3 colors. This one, and then there's a third color. It's at the bottom of the bag. There we go. So I lost the yarn tag for all the blue ones. But these were my 3 colors, and I was like, I'm a genius. It's going to look super cute. Yellow, blue, red, primaries. But then if you look at this yellow next to the blue and the red, it looks brown. I'm kind of disappointed. I wish it were a little bit more yellow. But when you're picking out sales yarn, the reason I took 3 was because that was the only way I could get enough for a sweater. So this is my color palette. The yellow is amber. The red, I think it's just red. Yeah, it's just red. And the blue, I can't remember what it was. I might have the tag. This is a spare tag. No, this is another amber tag. No way of knowing. Anyways, this is the sweater so far. I've kind of put it on hold because I got a little, ooh, sorry, clanking needles. I got a little tired of it. This is the front. I'm making a cropped raglan sweater. Sorry, there's bottle caps at the bottom of the bag. This is what I do while knitting. Yeah, it's a cropped sweater, so it's a little short, sweet. I did a regular raglan sweater, increasing on the body every other round and increasing on the sleeves every 4th round. And I had a collar at first with just a regular cast on, and it was too loose because I'd made it on the same size as the needles. I'm knitting this on 6mm needles, so it's very drapey, and it was way too loose, and it looked like one of those ruffle collars. So I picked it out and redid it on 5mm needles, or 4.5s maybe. Gosh, that's the thing I should know. I didn't write it down. 4.5s, I'll say. And then I did an I-cord bind off, so it's very cute. I like it. It stretches out very well. It makes it very defined, which I enjoy. This is where the I-cord ended, and I'm just gonna tack it down to make it nice and round. Then on the bottom, I also did an I-cord bind off. I'm in a very Stephen Westy mood, so everything needs to have an I-cord. And the top has a little bit of short row shaping. Just, you can see here that the collar is right on the blue, and on the shoulders there's a little bit of space. So I added the same little space of brown at the bottom, which I enjoy. And then I started my first sleeve. This went by like super quickly. This is like 4 days. And then I started my first sleeve. And as you can see, maybe, right here where the blue goes to the red, I accidentally switched needle sizes. So I'm gonna restart it. I just was too tired to rip it back. So this side is on 5.5s, and this side is on 6s. So I'm gonna rip it out because it looks a little dumb, especially if you look really closely. You can see that there's like a bump, and the stitches get a lot smaller and tighter. It's crazy what a 0.5mm will do to your stitching. So that's something I need to rip back. But I'm really enjoying it. It's gonna be cute. I tried it on when it had no sleeves, and it looked super cute, and I'll wear it with like, I got a pair of disco pants, the American Apparel disco pants, and it'll look very 70s. I think, yeah, because of the red and the blue being so fun and light, the yellow looks very brown, and this color combo looks just like 70s carpeting to me. My mom I grew up in my mother's house in Canada, her childhood home, and this was the color of the tiles in the kitchen. The blue was the color of the carpet in the living room, and the red was the color of the carpet in the dining room. So this is exactly the house I grew up with, and I didn't notice until like, I thought like, why does this make me feel like the 70s? And that's exactly why. So it's very cute. I'm very pleased with the striping. I hope to have this finished. All I have to do this week is sleeves. Lots of sleeves, that's all I have. So that's sweater 1 for the week. I'm just gonna not even keep a tally, there's a lot. Oh no, the next project I was telling myself I should go to the end of the row and I didn't. But I think this is this bag. I have another Starkerin bag because that's where I spend all my money. I just stuff them in here. They're these lovely, like, I think they're plastic. They're like acrylic duffel bags that are very deep and with a like gusset. and they're wonderful. I keep all my big projects like sweaters in them, and they just travel really well, and the needles don't pierce through. So it's been nice. But this one I have a shawl. This is the Dotted Rays shawl by Stephen West. I really regret not having finished my row. I'm like right damn smack in the middle, but gosh, I'm terrible at this. It's everybody's knitting it. You've seen it. Don't even worry. If you watch this obscure podcast, you've seen it. Gosh, and the cable's really short. Everything's terrible. But this is my color scheme for my Dotted Rays. It's just a short row wedge shawl, so the wedges get bigger as you go. My color theme is game show that got canceled around the time Kennedy got shot. So those are my colors. I think it's great. I really enjoy the colors. It's like candy that before good flavors were invented. This is, yeah, I'm on my 9th wedge. The light pink here is just the start of the 9th wedge. I'm working with the Gilitrutt yarn. Do I have a label? No, Carton threw away. My boyfriend was tidying, and he just threw away all the yarn labels because they're everywhere in our house. So I don't have any labels, but I will take out all the yarns I'm using. So this is lamb's wool. It's an Icelandic wool. It's like this designer yarn that's hella fancy. I'd never worked with it before, and I was quitting my job at the yarn store, and I was like, well, this is the last chance for me to buy it at 20% off. And my coworker convinced me to buy 7 skeins, I think I have. And I bought one of like every color. I think there are 14 colors. I bought half the colors. So at first, I bought 5 skeins. And wait, I'll put them in a nice order, how I bought them. I convinced myself that this was my palette. And it really isn't. It's just it's a really nice palette. Like, it's really pretty. This is a 2-ply Icelandic lamb's wool that's spun in Italy, and it's naturally dyed. Here in Iceland. I'm pretty sure it's dyed in Iceland. I'm not sure about that. But it's naturally dyed, and it's spun in Italy, and they only use, like, the soft underbelly fur wool of Icelandic lambs. So it's yearling lambs. And I was like, yeah, this is a really cute palette. And this one isn't black. It's a, like, chocolatey brown heather. And a gray heather and a light blue. And then I got really bored with it, like, immediately after buying it. I was just like, it's not me. So I went out and I bought 2 extra skeins, and now it's perfect. I really enjoy this palette now. The yellow and the blue just make it a lot more exciting. So I have 7 skeins. It calls for something like 600 meters of a fingering. I don't really care. I just followed like how the wedges work and I've stopped looking at the pattern. I can't be bothered. I've made short row wedges before, so this is I was supposed to be knitting all of the West patterns in order. I'm just knitting them as they come out. I already bought his whole color collection for the summer, and I'm in this yarn along group, and I bought his brioche book, so I'm not getting back to that slipped garter shawl I was working on from like his second pattern for a while. It's just sitting there. I'm looking at it. I have 3 colors left. So dumb. But yeah, this is the palette. I'm really enjoying working with this yarn. It's super soft. Like, it's as soft as you can get with Icelandic wool. It's a little on the pricey side. Here I bought it for at regular price. It's 1650 crown Icelandic, which is, I'd tell you to Google it. I think it's like $12 American or like $16 Canadian. So it's a little on the pricey side and it's only 25 grams. You get 25 grams and 100 meters per little what. But yeah, I'm enjoying working on it. It's kind of, I don't know how I feel about, I've done a bunch of short rows now. I don't know how I feel about the short row. I feel like I should just put a stitch marker where I should stop next, because like it's not mindless, because I need to make sure I don't knit past where I need to go. And that's bothering me a little. But for my color palette, like my color scheme, at first I was trying to plan it out and be like, all right, this color is going to follow this color, and now I'm just like, all right, whichever yarn I pull out, that's the next color. Now my boyfriend do it. I'm just like, all right, if it's not one of the last 2 colors, then that's the next stripe. And yeah, it's been going well. I really like the yellow. The yellow makes it. If it were just the other colors, I think I'd be really bored with it. So I keep on like, and the black. The black adds a little something. If it was just the blues and the pinks and the grays, it would be way too dull. I'm pleased with my color-based decisions. yeah, this is the Dotted Rays shawl by Stephen West. I'm knitting it on 4mm needles. I just got a set of Addi clicks, Addi lace long needle clicks. So the red cable, they're the ones that are interchangeable, and they have a weird spring thing. These are 4mm? Yeah, 4mm. They have the printed on them. It says US 6 with a little heart. It's super cute. It came in, I'm going to talk about it now because I started talking about it and I'm going to forget. It came in this pink case. It's absolutely ugly. The lace short needles come in like a dark brown, classy leather. This one's so tacky. But you just open it up, there's a snap, and then there's more ugly fabric on the inside. And a tacky heart pin. Everything's tacky. But yeah, I've started a few projects with these, as you can see, and then, oh! Needles out. Yeah, that's also the problem. If you take out needles, then there's no more elasticity to it. So, oh, yeah. So, and then right under here, there's a cable extender, so you get 3 lengths of cable, and you can clip them together to make a super long cable. I really hope I don't lose that needle. Moving on. Whoop. Everything's fallen everywhere. Lost a bunch of yarn. Yeah, I'm newly unemployed, so I have a bunch of knitting time. My next sweater is the commission sweater I talked about recently, which is for my boyfriend's uncle. This is just a traditional Icelandic sweater. It was already done, the whole body was done, but then this is the sleeve that's not finished, that he put patches on it because it's super frayed, and the elbow is dunzo. Like, it's black on black, so you can't really tell, but there's a huge hole. So I put a stitch marker where I cut the black on black on black on black stitch marker where I cut the other sleeve, and this one I've done it. Replaced the sleeve. You can tell where the black changes right here. It gets a little skinnier too. But yeah, I've just knit the sleeve again. I did double the ribbing I needed with a row of just knits. And then I left myself a really long tail to roll it and tack it down so that it's more durable. But yeah, I just have a sleeve to do, and I don't know what the pattern is. It's an old sweater. It's like a 30-year-old sweater. This is the yarn I'm using. It's called Plötulopi, which just means plate yarn, plate Icelandic wool. It's this super fuzzy, unspun, natural Icelandic wool, and it just drifts apart. Whoop. So it's a little bit of a pain to knit with. If you're new to knitting, I would not recommend this stuff. It just floats apart. I'm not even like pulling. It's just done. And then yeah. So I have these little bits all over my house. But if it breaks, you can just like, it's called a spit splice. So essentially, you just put the ends over each other and you give it a roll between your hands. And it's good as new yarn. So I'm using a doubled thickness of this yarn, which is in the almost black but not quite black colorway. It's like a heathered black. It's very pretty. It mostly has grays in it and then a teeny bit of brown. Super cheap. It's about, I think it's about $2 for 100 grams. So it's super cheap. I don't know if it's probably not that cheap in America because you have to ship it and all that. It's made here in Iceland, and it's just the yarn. It's called pencil roving, if you're interested. I think Noro makes a pencil roving that's like bright, fun colors, so you could knit out of that. But it makes a really, Icelandic wool is so durable, you don't really need to spin it to add durability. You kind of want to not spin it to add softness and plumpness and air. So a usual woolen yarn is about 75% air, and this one's like 90. It's mushy. It's very smushy. And the more you wear it, the smushier it gets. So I'm gonna wash it and hope it kind of blends. I tried to do like 2 rows of the old yarn, 2 rows of the new yarn, on and on and on, and you can still tell where I switched, but I don't think he's gonna care. So I have another sleeve to finish in the 2 weeks before I leave for Canada. It's probably gonna be like 1 sit-down movie length. But I hate knitting with black. It's just impossible to see the stitches. But yeah, Look at this lovely sweater. Done. Also, this is awesome because for Stash Dash it's doubled and I'm just replacing the sleeves and I can count the entire yardage. So once I finish replacing the sleeves, I'm going to weigh it and take off like 50 grams for the zipper, and then I'm going to have double yardage. So I'm very excited about that. This yarn is 300 meters per 100 grams. So you get a lot of yardage. But it's still like a light worsted. 300 meters to 100 grams is usually a sport, but because it's so lofty, it's almost a worsted. It's like a heavy DK like worsted. Next sweater. There's so many sweaters. I'm so sorry. I'm working on a lot of stuff. I even have a lot of FOs. It's not even like I've cast on a bunch of shit. It's just that I have a lot of FOs. So the next sweater is out of Madeline Tosh DK in the Whiskey Barrel colorway. Look at how pretty it is. Yeah, I'm knitting. This is my last skein I have left for a sleeve and a hood. So I moved apartments. I started this sweater in October. You see, I got these little black floofs everywhere. Anyways, I moved apart. I bought this yarn online from Jimmy Bean Wool, and I got it shipped, and I paid a bunch of taxes, and then I bought the yarn in October, and then I lost the sweater. I moved in January, and while I was moving, I misplaced the sweater. So I had the body done completely, and I'd put it in a bag, and then just immediately lost it. And now I found it as I'm moving again. So I finished one sleeve this week. It's really lovely. The color changes a little where I don't care. It has a little bit of ribbing at the end. It's just a regular sleeve. This is the Briquette sweater by Alicia Plummer. Alicia Plummer. It has a really cool stripe detail where it goes from stockinette to reverse stockinette, and there's some body shaping, and then you pick up along the collar and do a cool hood. It's very long and slim, and I'm looking forward to it. It's on 4.5, 5.5 millimeters. It's on 5.5, I think. I'm really enjoying it. The stitching, the color is absolutely beautiful. I just want to give you a... The color on the body is prettier than on the sleeve, but there's like blues, and it's really fun. So I'm really enjoying it. It's coming along. It's another sweater I'm gonna finish this week probably. I have so many sweaters right now that just need sleeves. I don't like knitting sleeves. I get second sleeve syndrome. One sleeve. But yeah, I should have a bunch of sweaters for when I move, which is fun. There are so many details. Lots and lots of yarn. I'm really enjoying this sweater. I can't wait to put it on. This is one of my first sweaters that I've had on the needles for a while. I used to not knit a lot of sweaters. I knit a lot of lobesa, the traditional Icelandic sweater, but yarn that's nice, like a nice Madeline Tosh DK. Enough for a sweater costs about $150, and I couldn't really allow myself that. But then I got a fancy job, so I bought some fancy yarn. It's so pretty. So I'm trying to go through these quickly because I have so much yarn. So many stuff. So I finished a sleeve on that this week. And then the next sweater is another sweater that's just been hibernating for literally forever. Pretty much. This is the Stratum sweater by Carolina Ackerdall. I'm knitting it out. This is another fancy sweater. I'm knitting it out of Brooklyn Tweed. And this is Long John, and this is Camper. They're dark red as Long Johns. I kind of went with the color theme by name. I thought they'd go well together. Yeah, so Stratum. This is the back of the sweater. It is an A-line sweater that decreases up. I think my shot is like tighter than usual. I'm just trying to not have my ghetto lighting in it. There we go. Yeah, it starts off with like a bunch of stitches at the bottom, a little bit of garter stitch, and then it decreases to the bust. And then you just cast on along either side and work some cool garter. Or like the body stockinette, the cast on is garter. It's a really long tail cast on. It took me forever. It's like 412 stitches, I think, for my size. Forever. And then this is the back. there's a little panel of stockinette, which I think is supposed to be garter, and I just screwed up. And then along the sleeve, I have excellent needle stoppers, which are elastic bands. But along the sleeves, there's this cool garter detail to the different garter. It's 2 different kinds of garter, which is interesting. And then, yeah, so what you do is you do a provisional cast on, and you add on the sleeves in either direction. And this is just the back of the sleeves. And then this is my new needle, which picked up the provisional cast on, and I'm knitting the other half of the sleeve, like around. So this is the front, which doesn't have much going on. It's gonna be interesting. Like, there's some shaping here you can see to open it up again for the armpit. It's really cute. There's just a lot of different counting going on at once, which I cannot deal with. And also it's like a 500 stitch row to get across all the way, and it's fingering weight because it's the Brooklyn Tweed Loft. So I think I just have this one of pink left, and I have one more of red after this one. I should be good on yarn. I'm not worried, but look at how cute the speckles are. I love this yarn. I'm obsessed with Brooklyn Tweed. It's so scritchy, and I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with the scritchy for this mush. It's I don't know, everybody's heard of Brooklyn Tweed at this point, I'm assuming, but it's a Tarhi Rambouillet blend. It's all milled and made in the US. It's kind of expensive if you get it out here. I got this for Christmas from my mother. I told her I wanted Brooklyn Tweed, and she's like, all right, if you're sure you need more yarn. It's like, yeah, I need more yarn. Still haven't finished it. I started it in January. I'm happy with how much work I've got done, but I have literally one sleeve left, because I have the back of both sleeves done, and now I just need to make the front. But it's just a long row, and that's discouraging. But that's another thing I'd like to work on, probably next week. I'm going to work on the other 2 sweaters first, and then finish that one. That's going to be so much yardage for Stash Dash. It's like 2K. 2 kilometers. I think that's it. That's it for whips. But yeah, once I finish all my whips, I'm basically done Stash Dash. The FOs, there we go. So we're at the Vanilla Bonanza section of the show where, because I'm a very lame knitter, I only make vanilla socks. I know I made a fancy sock recently, but that's such a rare occurrence that I'm gonna, like, throw it out. There's only ever gonna be one. I have so many, like, one fancy sock. No interest in fancy socks. That's why I like shawls. You only have to make one of them. And then you only make it until you run out of yarn. But this is sock 1. This is my only half off. It's super cute. The heel, like, worked perfectly. The heel I made it super pointy by accident. It's a short row heel. And I went down to 4 stitches, which was way too few. Usually I go down to like 8 and then just work my way back up, but I was distracted. I was at a flea market selling my own crap because we're moving. But this is out of the Regia 6 ply yarn. I did bring the ball. Ooh, look at this ball. It's huge. It's amazing. It's with Aran Carlos. They're fancy designer yarn. Look at this cute. Yeah, I already had this colorway of Aran Carlos in the fingering weight. This is like a DK sock. And I loved it so much that I got it in the heavier weight because I don't know what I did with the socks. But yeah, I got it at my local yarn store for like 1,400 crowns, so like $10. And I was like, rad. And I finished one sock really quickly. I did it on 2.5mm needles, and I love the dense fabric. It's beautiful. Just a 1x1 rib, short row, way too skinny heel, and then regular toe into a Kitchener stitch. I recommend it. I recommend going to more stitches on the heel though. But I like how the yarn just perfectly lined up. This is sock 1, and then I finished a bunch of socks. I had like the most intense sock knitting adventure, and most of them have been worn now. I'm like not one of those classy podcasters who waits until the podcast to wear the socks. As soon as they're bound off, I don't even need to weave in the ends. I just start wearing them. And anyways, I give you an idea of how the yarn's keeping up. So my sock blocker is a weird size. It's not a size I actually wear. Ooh, there's fluff. So this is sock 2. There are 2 of them, believe it or not. There you go, they're both finished. Both of them are done. I'm very proud. They're a little too loose. I think I did them on 64 stitches, and I think that's too many stitches. I did a fleagle heel, which is usually a toe-up heel, and I made an attempt at making it a top-down heel, just to see how it would fit. It's purely just science. I didn't take notes though, so it's not science, but I like to pretend it's science. So you see how you just increase along this line, then you work short rows on the bottom of the foot. I really enjoyed it. The yarn's pilling a little on the back of the foot, just because I wear it with boots that are floppy. But no, I think if anything, if you need a roomier heel, I'd go with this one. I do not need a roomier heel. I like a tighter heel, like a short row heel, without any like not even an afterthought heel. Like, I like it tight. So this might not be the heel for me, but it was an experiment. The yarn is Malabrigo sock in the Stone Chat colorway. I did it on 2.25mm needles, which gives me a little bit of a tighter gauge, but I think I might have to go down to 2mm needles. I like a dense sock. My boyfriend does not like a dense sock, but I like a dense sock. So yeah, just regular toe, 1x1 rib. I found a new cast on though. I had some trouble that my cast ons were a little too tight, and I used to use just a regular long tail cast on, but then I discovered something called the Icelandic cast on. Someone showed me that, so I don't know if it's actually called the Icelandic cast on or she just called it that because she's Icelandic, but it's hella smushy, super duper stretchy. I would recommend it. I will look into it and talk about it more next week. It's like a long tail cast on, but you do an extra stitch each time. So imagine like the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off is you do a yarn over between each stitch, so that the yarn over adds yarn to the stitches to make it stretchier. It's like that, but backwards for the cast on. Very interesting, super stretchy. She uses it on everything. I agree. It's a very, very good bind off cast on. So I have 2 of these. They're a little bit short. I wanted them to be longer, and I started the heel. I was just like, all right, it's heel time. Done. So that's done. And then the third pair of socks, well, second pair, third set, is out of Lorna's Laces in the, I think it's called Parkdale Dreams, Parkdale something. It's in her shepherd sock base. It's been worn, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's 2 of them, I swear. And I do not like pinks and purples. I'm not a pink and purple gal. Although I'm turning into a pink and purple gal, so I might be. But these are for my boyfriend. He is a any color sock man. He will wear anything. He's super cute. I don't like the pooling in this yarn. I like a variegated, not with like stripes. But I made a regular slip stitch heel, except it's a box heel. I think it'll be easier to show on the one that's not on the blocker. So yeah, I think I explained this in one of my podcasts. They just work it back and forth, and it makes it square as opposed to rounded. So I really enjoy the box heel. I'd recommend looking it up. My boyfriend has if you look, it's a square foot. It's a brick. No evolution happened. It's just like, let's make it square. So this is very, very roomy, and he enjoys it. I'm not a fan. The sock really, it grew in wearing. I made it on 2.5mm, and the fabric is super loose. Like, there's way a lot of air. Look at all that light you can see through. So they're a little too loose. These were knit on 2.5mm. I think I might have to retire all my sets of 2.5mm needles and switch down to 2.25 for him and 2mm for me. I have like 12 sets of 2.5s. Either long, like 1 meter for magic looping, or 9-inch for 9-inch circs. But yeah, that's the other pair of finished socks. So many pairs of finished socks. I always think socks will be like 400 meters because I buy 400 meters of sock yarn, but they're not. They're rarely 400 meters. Like these ones are 272 meters. I just weighed everything I've knit in the past 3 months for Slash Dash, or since May. Yeah. They're not enough yardage for the amount of time they take. But other stuff I finished. I don't think I'd have this finished last week. If I did, you can fast forward or just look at it more. I finished my doodler. Oop, wrong side. Doodler. It's beautiful. Look at it. Okay, so let's start at this end. It's huge. It's 6 feet long, 2 meters 10. It's just over 6 feet. It's the length of a twin size bed and the width of a twin size bed. So look at how big it is. There we go. It's beautiful. I'm in love. I'm so pleased with how it worked. I added 20 rows of garter in the B color, so the blue for me, and then I did an I-cord bind off with the leftover yellow, which I just had enough. I had like 3 grams of the yellow left, half a gram maybe, being generous, of the pink, and like 4 grams of the blue. So I really used everything. But what's amazing is I've weighed the shawl and it's 311 grams. So thank you, Hedgehog, for making huge skeins. So I think I got 325 grams of yarn, despite only having bought 300. So it saved the day. I don't think I could have finished the shawl if Hedgehog were not as fudgy with their numbers. So it's this short row reg pattern with some huge cables along the top, which I really enjoyed working more than I thought I would. And then some wavy bits. I'm sure you've all seen the doodler. I'm very pleased with my color choices. I thought the pink would be too much. The pink is just right. I made some mistakes. You can see that the feathers are too close in this section, but the mistakes saved the yarn. So I wouldn't have finished the forced wedge with enough yarn if I hadn't done that. I'm very pleased. I've been wearing it a ton recently, so if you've seen me in person, you've seen it in person and touched it because it's so smushy. So the yellow is fool's gold in the hedgehog sock, or hedgehog twist. And then the pink is also from Hedgehog in the coral colorway. And then the beautiful, beautiful blue, which I am obsessed with, is the Nassau blue from Madeline Tosh in her Tosh fingering merino. I think it's called Tosh Merino Light. And it is beautiful. It's not showing up the right color. It's more green. It's more like this color right here. Whoop, that color. The color, it matches the wall quite well. It's just a little bit darker, but it matches very well. So I'm very pleased. I'm obsessed with pink with blue and yellow right now. It's doing the world of good. Is that all my FOs? Yeah, we're done the knitting. I did some spinning too, because I'm the busiest lady in the whole wide world. So I was emptying some bobbins because I wanted to ply onto a bobbin, and the bobbin already had a little bit of stuff on it. So I emptied it because I thought there was just like 2 grams, 3 grams on it. It turns out there were like 15 grams. No, like, I don't know, I didn't weigh it. There was a lot. There's this much on it. I didn't make a skein out of it though. That's right, yeah. So I got this one off the wheel. It's been there forever, and I thought I would add to it, and then I didn't, because it was way, way too skinny. So it's just a little sample. It's the cluck stops at midnight, or the cluck stops at 12, something like that. I can't remember the name of the colorway. It's from Blue Moon Fiber Arts in her sheep to sock package, so it's 100% superwash merino. It's super fun. I made it Navajo plied 3-ply fingering to lace. It's really, really skinny. That's why I was so tired of it. I was immediately done. It's probably going to make stripey something if I even use it, because there's not that much. I got 175 meters. So I just took it off the bobbin, mostly for Stash Dash to get the meters. Yardage. I'm very pleased. It's cute. I'm always like surprised how quickly spinning goes. And then I was clearing the bobbin to fit a full 4 ounces on another bobbin for plying. And I made this one. Oh. Damn it. Come on, yarn, cooperate. Oh my goodness. Where does this ply go? Sorry, there's one yarn. There we go. So this is Eat Your Greens. It is 100% Wensleydale from Hello Yarn. I took the braid and it was like a just sequence of colors. So it went like light blue, light green, dark green, brown. Light blue, light green, dark green, brown. So I just split the sequence to get 2 of the same sequence. And then I spun one, and I spun the other one to try and get a gradient, which I kind of got. They kind of lined up. I'm pretty pleased. There's a little bit of Berber pulling, but it's between 2 like very close shades. Like, I'm super pleased with it. I got 320 meters of about a heavy fingering to a sport. I wanted like 500 meters of a lace weight, but I spun it way too quickly. I spun it into what it wanted to be. Wensleydale is a very long fiber, so I didn't want to put too much twist into it that lace really needs. And yeah, it's super pretty. It's gonna be a gift. Gift spinning. My least favorite thing about spinning is once you're done, you're not done. You just still need to knit it. So for knitting friends, I usually just give them hand spun. So I don't need to deal with it anymore, and I don't need to knit it. I'm very pleased with how it came out. It matches my apartment. Like, the blue is the exact same shade of blue. The luster is really nice. There's something going wrong here. Oh, this is the end of the yarn. It's very highly twisted, as you can see. In a good way, I hope. So I'm very pleased with it. It's a very pretty skein. I've already given her hand spun. Gonna give away too much. Not gonna say anymore, because she might watch the podcast at some point. I know she doesn't, but she might. So this is done. Gift spinning. That's all the spins I have. I spun a little bit more. I have a like patchwork kit. I don't think Hello Yarn calls them patchwork kits, but I just have a like bundle. I have 500 grams of just like 10-gram nuggets of fiber that I started spinning, and I bought a kit for needle felting of just superwash merino, 10 grams, and there were like 300 grams. So I'm alternating one nugget that's fun colored and one solid, and making like a stripey, and I'm hoping to make that shawl that Stephen West made out of unicorn tails, but without the ends to weave in. So unicorn tails are the 10-gram mini skeins from Madeline Tosh. So I'm gonna spin maybe 200 grams and just Navajo ply them, so 3-ply, chain ply, and then I'll be ready to spin a nice shawl. That's long term, but I like it because it's kind of popcorn spinning, because you just have to spin 10 grams and you're done, and then you spin it. You get to pick another color that goes well. So that's exciting. I shipped my spinning wheel home with my mother this week though, so there's no more spinning until I get to Toronto on the 27th. So it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday until I move. And as you can see, I haven't sorted my stash yet to get rid of it and give it to a friend. I haven't done anything with my life. So that's it. Stash adoptions. I bought this, which is just Pirka Lanka. It is a Finnish wool yarn. It's a 2-ply. It's in a beautiful yellow, and it was just sitting there, and it was the last skein, so I bought it. And there's just 50 grams. It's supposed to be 100 grams. I don't know what happened to the other 50 grams, but I'll make some socks. Very sunshiny socks, probably with a picot edging. This yellow deserves picot. And like a pink toe. And then I finally got my shipment, my first shipment of the Stephen West yarn along. So some of you may be thinking, wait, wasn't the first one in June? Weren't you supposed to get it exactly at this time, but a month ago? Didn't they ship out on like June 14th? Yes, they did. But Icelandic Customs was like, wait a second, this lady doesn't have a name that ends in an Icelandic way. We're gonna steal it from her because she's clearly trying to avoid paying taxes. So it took them a month to figure out how much to charge me for taxes, and they decided on $50. It was expensive, but I just wanted the stinking yarn at this point, so I paid it. So this is the first set of colors. I'm sure you've seen them on Instagram, but they're from Walk Collection. It's their Delicate Merino, 600 meters, to 100 grams. They're beautiful. I can't remember what, I think the first shawl is called Serendipity. It's not available until 2017. This is the main color and this is the accent color, but I'm thinking of switching it because I really like gray. So I might go with that. And it's kind of like a dotted raised shawl, similar with the short row wedging. And then at the end, there's just a mesh border, like on the Viagente. So it's just a yarn around mesh. It's very pretty. Wait, I have a picture of it because I just downloaded the pattern this morning. Because I finally got the pattern and I finally got everything set up. It took me 12 ever. It was pretty bad. I was a little annoyed at how long it took. Like, I know it's not the fault of the Stephen and Penelope store. It's totally not their fault. It is the fault of Icelandic stuff. But yeah, that's what it looks like. There's some mesh, there's some dots. That's Mr. West wearing the fancy shawl. It's wonderful, but I will probably switch out the gray for the orange. Have the gray as the main. I think that'll look cute. Cute, cute, cute. I like gray. I want the gray next to my face because it matches with how gray and pale I am and my hair. Gray. It's the same color. But this is fashion option that I bought pretty much years ago at this point because I bought it in March and it's finally here. But I got the last 2 shipments sent to my apartment in Canada where I'm moving to. So she's going to send July and August just together to save on postage and to save on paying taxes here. Taxes here are insane. But I got a cute little bag with it because they ran out of the original yarn along bags. So I got a Stephen and Penelope, and they're going to send me a yarn along bag shortly. So cute little bicycles. I'm super excited. It's like this organic cotton that seems really durable, but that's going to get dirty in my bag pretty much instantly. I think that's all my yarn shopping for this week. I did buy the yarn for the dotted rays. The Hélène Magnúson yarn. But that's about it. I think that's it for this week. Yeah, that was a really long podcast. I'm sorry that took so long. 45 minutes. I have it down to a science. Every podcast so far has been like 45 minutes, except for the last one. But 45 minutes is my average. I think I talked really quickly this week. Could be. I think that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. I should have a podcast up next week. There's nothing too crazy on the docket. Tomorrow's Friday. Friday after that, I'm probably going to make the next podcast. Hopefully I'll have some sleeves done. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you soon. See you on Ravelry. Bye.